Welcome to 2020 annual owner meeting. So I just wanted to invite yourself. If you have, I hope again, you have your brunch around you, some food to feed yourself. Unfortunately, we can't come together in person to eat together and break bread. But it's the BYOB these days. Bring your own brunch and you can brunch with each other and have still in some way having community with each other is still better than just looking at the four walls around us. And most importantly, want to celebrate the fact that we pretty much made it through the end of 2020. Hopefully nothing too dramatic is going to happen within the next few weeks, especially for us, for the people who constrain our timeline of the year within the Gregorian calendar. We're almost through 2020, so we can get into the new 2021. Just wanted to invite yourself to pat yourself on the back. I'm doing that for myself because I did a great job and you all did too. So would you like to invite everyone to drop in chat your name, pronouns, where you're calling in from, and what you are eating or planning to eat, because it's important to make sure you're feeding your body. We don't want people to accidentally just fall into the zooming. Even on a Sunday, it's a Sunday fun day, and we want to make sure you got the food in you. And if you don't, please make sure you go into the whatever area that has food to put in your belly and share it in chat so we can make everyone hungry. And Grayson in chat will also share the link for the deck so we can also follow as well. But before while you guys are doing that, to share your intro and all the fun stuff, I will just walk through the quick agenda. We'll actually be going through a lot of really cool things. First, we'll just kind of review our quick community agreement, and then you'll be able to meet the member, our board of directors. We call them the owls, who provide oversight for our very diverse and decentralized movement cooperative. And then we'll do a little social networking activity so you can actually meet each other a little more beyond just dropping in chat. Welcome everyone. Please drop in chat your name, preferred pronouns, location you're calling in from, and the brunch you are having. Even if it's like a banana like this, share that, because I'm so excited about my banana. It's so tasty. It's different from the giant ones. Anyway, so from the social networking activities, we're going to do a quick review of our projects and challenges. By quick, it means that we're trying to do a pretty high level, but it's going to be a whole lot. And then from there, we'll get some feedback to set some direction for the New Year's, and we'll do a little community announcements. So if you have any announcements you want to share with each other, please also be ready to share too. There's a cool space to do that. And then with that said, let's get started. So to get us all be on the same page here, I just wanted to review our community agreement together here. This is the agreement that the owls, our board of directors, came up with for our owl meetings. So we have 12 of these, and I'd like to invite you all to just kind of see who's faster, to unmute yourself and read one, and then share with everyone what you think this means to you. Anyone want to do that? And by the way, Grayson, another worker owner here, is monitoring chat and all the fun stuff. So I can, go ahead, Sherry.
Number 10, a listen for understanding. What that means to me is really active listening from a compassionate heart, and not be in a position not to respond, just not to listen, just to be able to respond. That's what it means to me.
Scary. We're trying to move this pretty quickly, so feel free, don't be shy, unmute yourself, pick one, and with our active listening, we could go through all 12 together pretty quickly.
Number 7, assume good intention. To me, that means that we're all on the same, we all have the same agenda to work together for a common goal. Or at least know that everyone's doing the same thing.
4, no one knows everything. Together we know a lot. I think that means, you know, everyone has their special talents and understandings and domains of expertise, but they also have their boundaries. And so understanding those and respecting those and listening and yeah.
Number 9, this is Ranil from Berkeley. Come from a place of cooperation, because I think we are anti-cooperate. That means we necessarily have to be cooperative modeling. I hope we see a lot more of this going on soon.
This is Lasha. I love 11, which is Elmo, enough, let's move on. I think a lot of times when we talk, we tend to echo each other. And so there's different kind of tools for showing agreement, like hands or other things like that. And then we can kind of move on to the next topic.
Number 11, Elmo, enough, let's move on.
Come on, everyone. Let's move on. Who wants to take number 1?
I can take number 1. This is Colin. Work together with trust and intent, trust the process, default to love, and acknowledge impact. I really like this one. There's a lot of trust, a need for trust in there, as well as defaulting to love. And that there's sort of a repetition there with number 6 around acknowledging difference between intent and impact, but important to acknowledge impact if you caused some harm in the space.
Thank you, Colin. It's 2 and 1. Great.
I can go number 5.
I think no.
Embrace curiosity. Sorry, Subin. But we're in a place where it's sometimes hard to imagine what the new world can look like, and we can't without curiosity. And it goes in hand with working cooperatively and working with love and joy. But embracing curiosity as we work to create this new world.
I'll do number 3. Be on time, come into the meeting with the intent to be present and share when you are not present. So we'll just do our best to set things in motion around us to minimize distractions as best we can, but also just letting folks know when you will be interrupted or you're distracted, especially when you're taking care of your needs or your family. You might see a little bit of that going on with me. Glad to be here with y'all.
We want to see Maya, Subin.
I guess I'll do number 7. Assume good intention. And I'm Andrew. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that one. I like assume good intention because we're all here trying to make a difference and trying to make the world into a better place. So I think we should assume good intention from one another, that we're all trying to do our best to make this project work.
Yeah.
And I personally want to be more involved. That's my 2 cents. So.
Very welcome.
Number 8, uplift the women and children better in meetings. I think this is an incredibly powerful statement to include in community agreements. Women and non-binary folks are often silenced in so many organizations. So I think this goes to show how much we're willing to push the boundaries of traditional means of communication. And for children, you know, this is what we're building a better world for, and helping build that foundation for them to be able to enjoy the sun and air and all the good things here on Earth.
Number 12, Sunitha?
Yes.
For number 12, value the experience, value the difference to create unity. Hey, what's up with it?
And what does that mean to you, Kita?
The value the difference to create unity. To me, it means respecting the different backgrounds so that we can just value each other's differences so that we can find the intersecting, overlapping points, and that's where unity is created.
Thank you. Who wants to take number 2? It's the last one.
Last one. How ironic.
Number 2, practice equitable labor. That everyone pushes it forward in a different way, and you got to trust that we're all pushing it forward in our own way behind the scenes, while also holding each other accountable and challenging each other to contribute how we can, how our gifts provide for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. So that is our community agreement. This is the community agreement we use at our OWL meetings, and so excited to be doing this here too. If anyone wants to add more, please feel free to add it in chat and I could read it out loud too. Or you can unmute yourself and share verbally. In the meantime, for the purpose of our meeting here, because we do have a pretty tight 2 hours, we are, when we go through some things, especially something like questions for project updates and whatnot, we'll invite you to put in chat. You can write in stack, and Grayson will keep track of the stack so we can keep the right order. But if you're on a phone and you cannot do that, you could just like unmute yourself and say, I would like to be on stack real quick, and then Grayson will keep that in track. Oh, Susan, you got one. Oh, I love that. Susan, would you like to share that? You just shared.
Sure. Sorry, I'm on a dog walk, so I can't be visible. Yeah, it kind of goes with number 7, assuming good intention, just knowing that people are coming with good intention, but you can still, challenge people's ideas and assumptions. So you can be hard on ideas, but not on people, soft on people.
Yeah, thank you for that. And also wanted to use this opportunity to welcome our full selves here. We know that when a lot of times when we're doing a lot of work that is surrounding equity, racial equity, we are reckoning with the privilege that we come with sometimes, as well as the power that we have. Sometimes we can feel ashamed. Sometimes we can feel all sorts of feelings. Sometimes we can feel frustration. All of that is our full self, and we want to welcome that. We want to welcome, as Selena mentioned, all sorts of identity that we have, especially the family roles that we have in the society. Some things are harder. Some things, sometimes it's less welcoming to show out. All of you are welcome, no matter where your ancestors come from. We're all welcome here to create a future that works for every single one of us. We're not here to try to lift up equality, of course. We're really here to show up equitably, as Ryan mentioned. How can we make sure we show up in our full self so that we can bring ourselves all together in this line of solidarity to build that future together. So for the purpose of our annual owner meeting here, last year we actually talked about our theory of change on how we actually want to build a movement to change our energy system by inviting all of our communities to participate in the energy transition. We talked about our commons model, our innovative model, ownership model that allows people to participate in the energy transition, and we'll be reviewing a lot of these projects. And before then, I'll obviously also invite you all to watch the recording from last year's owner meeting. We'll do a follow-up with the link to that in case you didn't have an opportunity to watch it, to kind of just quickly see our theory of change there. But for now, what we're going to do is actually play a quick video about what exactly is at stake and what we're here to do. Because as you know, in a lot of our owner survey, member owner survey, that is currently being circulated around, we have talked about a lot of different values that we actually try to touch on and ask you to rank these things. And here's a quick video about what is at stake and what energy democracy is about, just so we kind of ground ourselves into understanding what we're all doing this for. And this is a video done by the Trade Unions for Energy Democracy to talk about what energy democracy looks like. I hope. Can you all hear it okay? Is it clear, the sound? I just realized when I shared, I didn't. Okay, let me. Yep, I didn't share the audio. I knew it. Okay, let's do it again.
Fossil fuel use in the form of coal, oil, and gas is rising. Temperatures are going up. Droughts, wildfires, typhoons, and floods are all becoming more frequent and severe. Warmer temperatures and unstable weather are leading to disease, destroyed homes and livelihoods, and widespread agricultural damage. Freshwater supplies are dwindling, with more and more of our planet's water used for mining and drilling. The World Health Organization reports that in 2012 alone, poor air quality, largely the result of burning fossil fuels, claimed the lives of 7 million people. And even with annual increases in energy generation, there are still more than 1.3 billion people worldwide without electricity, and another billion with unreliable access.
We're seeing these impacts today all around the world. And if current trends continue, carbon dioxide emissions will actually increase 50% by 2035. This puts us on course for a 6 degrees Celsius rise in average global temperature within the lifetime of children born today, which means human civilization, as we know it, is in real danger. Of course, it doesn't have to be this way. Global warming can be controlled if emissions are dramatically reduced. We can reduce them in two main ways, through energy conservation and wider adoption of renewable energy technologies.
But despite all the talk about green energy, renewable energy use is not growing fast enough. Today, modern renewables like wind and solar account for just 0.3% of total energy supply. And according to the International Energy Agency, even if all existing government commitments to advance clean energy were met, renewable energy would stand at just 16% of all energy consumed globally by 2035. That's not enough to make the change we need.
Studies show that we could have a system powered by 100% renewable energy in about 25 years. So why isn't this happening? It's simple. The current energy system is not focused on meeting the needs of workers, communities, or the environment. It's about maximizing the profits of big corporations. In 2012, fossil fuel producing companies and utilities represented 19 of the world's 50 leading corporations. In the US alone, the top 5 oil companies amassed almost $1 trillion in profits over the last decade. These are the same corporations that force workers into unsafe conditions, break unions, and seek to roll back democratic and human rights. The bottom line is that profit-driven approaches are not working.
Real change can only happen if there is a shift in power toward workers, communities, and the public. There's a name for this shift. We call it energy democracy. Energy democracy offers a public sector approach to an energy transition grounded in the belief that people and communities should have the right to control their energy future. Energy democracy would replace the profit-driven energy industry with democratic control and social ownership over energy resources, infrastructure, and options.
Energy democracy would involve a planned and orderly transition to renewable energy, wind, solar, geothermal, and tidal power over a period of 2 or 3 decades. Profit-seeking private companies would be replaced by community-owned facilities and reclaimed utilities. Workers presently in fossil fuels would be protected, and millions of new jobs would be created.
Energy democracy would transform energy into a public good, developed and delivered as a public service for the benefit of everyone, including those who currently lack electrical power. And since the power generated by the sun, the wind, the earth, and the tides doesn't have a price tag, the costs of making this transition could quickly be recovered, with enormous social and environmental benefits.
So how do we get there? The answer is that we, the workers of the world, must come together to demand and create this change.
We must resist the agenda of large energy companies to mine and drill for fossil fuels.
We must reclaim the right for communities to exert democratic control and social ownership over the energy industry.
And we must restructure the energy system and start a planned and orderly transition to renewable energy under worker, community, and municipal control.
Energy democracy is supported by a growing number of trade unions and social movements. By fighting for it together, we can work to secure a prosperous future for generations to come.
Business as usual is not an option. Make energy democracy a reality today.
So that is a video done by the trade unions for energy democracy about what energy democracy looks like. And recognizing that they're, yay, Maya with Subin's screen. You can see Maya's enjoying that too. And just wanted to quickly recognize that so many people in the room here are doing a lot of the work around energy democracy. When it comes to resisting, we have No Coal in Oakland, we have Communities for a Better Environment. And of course, people are doing more than just resisting. We have Reclaim Our Power also present, and many other organizations, Asian Pacific Environmental Network also on the call, amongst many amazing community-based organizations, as well as all these individuals who are already on the call and also spending your own time to try to push for energy democracy. So this is our collective effort here. And we are here also as a cooperative, a movement cooperative, to try to change that as well. So as part of our agenda here today, we want to then share with you about how exactly we're kind of doing that by meeting the cooperative. So what's a little special about the People Power Solar Cooperative is that we don't have a brick and mortar. We don't have a group of people actively working on something like a worker-owned cooperative. We're a movement cooperative with multi-stakeholder. We have stakeholder, not just the worker owners. We have stakeholders who are like the subscriber owners who purchase electricity from People Power. We have the anchor owners who drive the direction and the projects of People Power Solar Cooperative. And then we have just general owners who actually put in your money to help us build that collective crowdfunding financial resource to be able to build that future together. So right now, when we talk about energy, communities are literally fragmented into property owners focusing on individual ownership so they can reclaim their own energy and have, quote, energy independence. And then there's renters feeling indentured to their own utility agency. So if our goal is achieved at People Power Solar Cooperative, we'll have clusters of communities throughout California working together towards designing a collective energy benefit by building cooperatively owned and controlled energy projects. And we'll be going through that on like something that we've been working on over the past year together between different clusters. And with that, our member owners will actually be able to leverage local knowledge and community networks to identify, finance, and own the projects they develop through the cooperative, building social, economic, and environmental resilience in the process. So how exactly, because we're so like bottom up and grassroots, how can we actually make sure what we're doing, it has right oversight and actually represent everything? Is the owls. We don't call our board the traditional board. We have a board that is like an owl that just have oversights and represents different aspects of it. And I'll introduce our owls to basically say a few words and welcome everyone. I don't see Brandy on the call. Am I missing Brandy?
Yeah, I didn't see her either.
Okay. Well, it's okay. We'll wait for Brandy. Zobo, would you mind going up first?
Oh, I don't mind.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Hello.
Great. Hey, everybody. Good morning. My name is Zobo. I'm Hadarch. She, her, they, them pronouns. And I am the financial director. So the role of the financial director is to pretty much oversee the finances and the general financial well-being of the cooperative. And just for transparency, I've been on the board for, what is it, a year now, or maybe a little over a year. But I'm still learning a lot about my position and what it entails. So it's definitely a work in progress. What else? I am a youth organizer currently at Communities for a Better Environment. We're an environmental justice group based in California, and we do mostly work on air pollution in communities of color in Richmond, East Oakland, and Southeast LA and Wilmington in Southern California. So I'm based out of Richmond, and I organize young people, mostly high schoolers there. So a lot of the work that we're doing right now is focused on decommissioning the Chevron refinery and really breaking the narrative and the stories and beliefs that people hold about how fossil fuel industries are necessary for environmental justice communities to thrive or even survive. And so we really want to push, the narrative that energy democracy is possible, just transition is possible, and that corporations need to pay up and need to be accountable and responsible to pay for all the damages that they've done. Is there anything else I'm missing from my introduction?
I think that's great. Thank you for that intro.
Okay, great. So I'll pass it to Kita, who's the Thinker Director.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yay.
Got you.
Hey, what's up with it? So how everybody doing? I'm Keita Price. I'm investor owner, member owner, Al of the group. And yes, I'm excited to step into this position. The whole kind of the formal topic around energy is I'm not gonna say new, but yeah, it's a little outside of my wheelhouse, but I've been just enjoying learning from the entire cooperative and definitely Crystal and how the topic of energy like intersect with frontline projects that's happening in the community. So yeah, I'm just excited to help identify more projects, help other members identify potential projects in their neighborhoods to get towards energy democracy. And I'm sorry, like I said, I'm driving right now. I'm almost home to get stationary.
Yeah, be safe.
And I'm just excited to be here and to learn more and to be a vessel for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Kita. And I'd like to introduce Yasir.
Peace. Good morning. Yasir, I am the subscriber director. My role, I'm elected by and I represent the subscribers of People Power Solar. So subscribers, anyone who gets energy from us or any other type of benefit from us, I am the person who represents them and the interests of them. I have a background in environmental justice, educator in the space, and really I like to dissect permaculture solutions and how they interact with everything that we're trying to create and restore. So my passion is a lot of different things, but in this space, it's really ultimately just to bring peace and to restore balance. And who's next on the list?
We can pass it on to Selena.
Yeah, Selena. Welcome, Selena.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Selena, she, her pronouns, and I am the worker director sitting on the board of People Power. My official start date was December 1st, so I'm very new to the group of owls, but I'm really excited to represent the interest of the workers, specifically Crystal and Grayson, who've been doing a lot of really great work over the last couple of years in getting the infrastructure set up with the help of the board. So I'll serve as a sort of intermediary between them and the rest of the board, as well as support in holding each other accountable. Because I am so new, I'm still getting the feel for how the board functions and what my role is going to look like, but I'll also be serving as secretary on the board. So I'll get lots of chances to type out and read through the notes that are eventually shared out to the rest of the owners and People Power. Outside of People Power, I freelance as an amplifying agent, so I get the word out about people and causes and movements that I care about, all of which are located right here in Oakland. My background professionally has been in marketing in the clean energy space, and I'm really trying to push the boundary of that work to support folks that I really care about and am passionate for. So I also sit on the board of the Berkeley Student Co-op Alumni Association, and with that, I've been supporting a lot of worker-owned co-ops and co-op propagation throughout the Bay Area. And recently started a new project to invite formerly incarcerated firefighters to do much-needed wildfire mitigation work here in the Bay Area. So I'm really excited to be here. And outside of work, I just am really passionate about nature and being with trees and getting more folks out there with me. So if you ever want someone to hike with or to surf with, we can do it socially distantly. And it's always a blessing to be out in the sun. And that's what this work is all about. Thanks for having me. Over to Subin.
Hi, everyone. Greetings to you all in love. My name is Subin Devar, and I serve as the Permanent Cooperatives Director. I use he, him pronouns. I spent many years in the Bay Area, particularly around when the cooperative came together, but now live in what is called Washington, D.C., and serve on the board from here. And I'm also I work at the Sustainable Economies Law Center, which has been incubating and supporting the cooperative through legal services and other support, technical and financial and just advisory, whatever we could do to help. What else about myself? The role of this is one of three positions on the board that are appointed by organizations. The first five that we went through, we didn't cover the governance director, but 5 are elected and 3 are appointed. So the role I serve in is the permanent cooperatives director, and this, so I was appointed by the Sustainable Economies Law Center. And for those who aren't familiar with the concept of permanent cooperatives, is this concept and idea that the Law Center has come up with that is essentially about supporting the creation of organizations that spread wealth and power by engaging everyday people in the development and stewardship of critical assets like renewable energy, housing, farmland, and technology. And so my passion itself has been in the intersection of justice and climate change. So really grateful to see the rise of many great organizations and the ecosystem that includes People Power and so many other organizations continuing to grow, and that leadership both from the front lines and many youth around the country and the world. It's really been a time of great need, but great inspiration and hope, seeing so much advance during our time. So very grateful. And I will pass it to our Climate Justice Director, Ami.
And Ami's calling in. So what I'm gonna do is share a photo of Ami so you can kind of get a little face photo. If I can move to the next slide. I'm stuck. Ami, are you there? Oh goodness. Ami, if you're there, you're on mute. And
If she's called in by her phone, I wonder if you can unmute for her. If that, I don't know, that might be a thing.
Yeah, she is. I requested to. Oh, there you go. Great.
Can folks hear me now?
Yay! Yes.
Oh, sorry about that. I guess I was on mute. But hi, everybody. This is Ami. I use she, her pronouns, and I am serving as the Climate Justice Director as part of our OWL structure. And I was recently appointed just a few months ago by the California Environmental Justice Alliance, or CEJA, which is a statewide environmental justice alliance in California that includes 11 organizations, including the one that I work at, which is the Asian Pacific Environmental Network, or APEN. I've been research director at APEN for about 5 years, and I've been supporting, as part of the work with CEJAS, the statewide policy work we do related to clean energy, climate change, mitigation, adaptation, and that looks like lobbying in Sacramento, agency advocacy, and what's really exciting about our work with People Power is the sort of local implementation work where we're actually developing models and projects where we organize for clean energy and community resilience. So yeah, really excited I can join by a phone. I'm based in Oakland, but right now I'm on the East Coast visiting family. So yeah, excited to be here, and I'll pass it to Crystal.
Thank you, Ami. And hi, everyone. I'm taking my facilitator hat and worker owner hat off to speak with you about my grassroots clean energy director hat. So I also recently in, I think it was November, got very recently appointed in, I'm very honored to be appointed by the local Clean Energy Alliance to be served on the board of People Power Solar Cooperative as a grassroots clean energy director. And the role of the grassroots clean energy director is to make sure that what we are building at the cooperative is going to be rooted in grassroots clean energy. And my personal background, I actually used to work in a solar company, one of the largest solar panel maker in the world, and then later started to work for startup incubators who are supporting startup companies that is trying to solve the utility integration and decarbonization questions specifically on solar. And so from there, I realized that we really are missing a lot of the equation without talking about power and privilege. And in order for us to truly have a transition, we have to really focus on the structure of our economy and our society. And the only way to do it is by lifting up the voices from the bottom, especially those who have been disproportionately impacted by our current extractive fossil fuel economy. So I'm very honored to be able to help make sure that the cooperative is focusing on that and not accidentally fall into whatever's easy with the for-profit developer and building projects that way. I found out recently that we're apparently reaching peak oil. That's a lot of an energy analyst is actually predicting for the future, including Bloomberg, is actually saying, like, because of the pandemic, because of the shelter in place, because of behavior that's being changed, as well as the economic crisis coming from the pandemic, we are actually now going into a place where the oil transitioning is actually happening a lot faster than everyone. And seeing the reality that companies like BP, company like Shell is now committing to a really serious transition to away from emission is really scary, because we're now really creating that future where we can continue the oppression powered by renewable energy. So really honored to be able to be part of this movement cooperative to help drive us through the transition where we can actually restructure our society and have control of our own energy future. With that, a little welcome here. I am going to share my screen real quick to hop back into our agenda to have you all meet with each other. And
while you're doing that, do you want me to speak about Brandy's role since she's not here?
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Yasir.
So sorry, Brandy is absent today. I think she has some other responsibilities that she's taking care of. She's the governance director. She's elected by the owners, and she's responsible for overseeing participatory and democratic governance practices. And she's also oversees the election process for the different director roles and so forth. So I know she wanted to be here, and she's been doing a great job of showing up and everything. So just wanted to make sure we acknowledged that she is present in spirit, I'm sure.
Thank you so much, Yasir. Well, with that, we all kind of met the owls who represent who we are. as a cooperative, now it's time to meet the most important people in the cooperative, that is ourselves. So what we'll do is kind of go into some small groups of 3 so you can meet with your fellow member owners. And the first question we want to answer, you want to share within 2 minutes, is what moved you into joining the cooperative. Grayson is going to kick off a little breakout rooms, and if you can just accept it, you could just go into talking with 1 or 2 of your buddies about what moves you into joining the cooperative. Oh, welcome back.
Glad to.
Welcome. I hope you now feel like you're ready for 2021 now.
We were still talking. We had so much more to talk about.
Oh, it's no worries. We'll make sure we can continue that conversation.
Yeah.
So now, with you getting to know the most important component of People Power Solar Cooperative, let's get into seeing what exactly different member owners have been doing. So I'm going to share my screen again real quick. So a little project gallery is what we're about to get into. So for the project gallery is basically kind of a reaction to really realizing that from the member owner surveys that many of you have filled out, it really showed that you want to know more about the projects we've been working on. And our goal at People Power Solar Cooperative is to prove that communities have the ability to take back control of power, literally, financially, and politically. So you're about to hear about a bunch of different projects that different member owners have been working on. And this is not to say that the people who are speaking are the only people. There's a lot of stuff going on behind each of them. So what the identity of the cooperative is that we act like a thought partner and offer technical support that enables community groups to lead in the decision-making process and engage their constituents and generally build momentum and community interest in solar development and wealth building opportunities. So what I'm about to do is just kind of showcase this project gallery, have different people doing a quick 3 to 4 minutes, hopefully no more than 3, but we understand like each of the project could literally be 1 hour meeting each. So I wanted to give everyone like a high level understanding of what's going on, and please hold your question if you can, write it down until the very end, and then we can have some like interaction, cross-pollination between the project. With that said, I will get started with the first one, and I will be holding a timer and hand the mic to Grayson.
Hey y'all. So many of y'all are probably familiar with this project because many of y'all are in the photo on this slide. And I'm Grayson, the other worker owner in People Power. He, him pronouns, calling from the East Coast. But just want to talk a little bit about this. We installed this project 1.5 years ago, as I'm sure many of you know. And what's so important about this project is it operates under what we call the commons model, in that it's a community-owned solar system on a privately owned building, and it disconnects the ownership of land from the ownership of power. So here in California, it's really hard for communities to own their own energy. This is actually the first project in the whole state of California that's cooperatively managed, that's not municipally owned. And that's a huge step for us. Since we built the project 1.5 years ago, we've been continuing to work with Laura Jo and her new housemate, Sherry, who's also on this call, month to month, to make sure that they're happy as subscribers to this project. We manage billing on a monthly basis to Laura Jo and Sherry, selling the energy from the system and generating revenue for the cooperative that can be divided across its members and also be reinvested into future community owned solar projects. And Renil's going to be talking more about the commons model on the next slide. And Laura Jo and Sherry, I don't want to put you all on the spot either, but I know you're both on this call. And so if you wanted to chime in and just say what your experience with People Power has been with this project, would be delighted to have you share.
Go ahead, Sherry.
Well, as I was saying in our group meetings, is that I moved to this property in February of this year, and so I was benefited with having solar did not, I mean, Laura and I had talked, she of course told me about it before, and it was just amazing. I mean, one, Grayson and Crystal, helping me to understand how all this works, and I'm still learning because I haven't been fully attentive as I should be, and that's why it was important for me to attend this annual meeting. But clearly, my energy bill from, just taking that energy bill, has drastically increased, and how that works with PG&E and so forth and so on is a lesson in and of itself. But Grayson and Crystal have been real patient with me. So I'm just happy to be here and happy just to learn more about the model and also about the work.
Thank you for sharing, Sherry. And sorry again for putting you on the spot there. Next, I think Ranil is going to talk a little bit about the Commons model and sort of what it holds for the future of the co-op.
Thanks, everyone. I just unmuted myself. It's really great to be here. It's an honor to have a group like this in existence, even if it is only via Zoom. The reality is that we will be on the ground, as what we are resourcing is from the ground and from the sky now. And, as Crystal put it, more and more of the marketplace is wincing about the extractive nature of the economy collapsing. Well, yeah, to that, and we need to, look ahead. And for me, being involved as a cooperative thinker, as a collective mind, I didn't know how I could actually contribute to the co-op when I first began. But later on, it helped me think out about my own lives and how I should be contributing. So then this particular instance is about networking and creatively finding ways to make things happen in our communities. What I did was I looked into the Northern California Land Trust because I'm also a resident on a land trust property in Berkeley. It made a lot of sense to me because the corporate model for solar panels, which I had explored before for myself personally, seems to be tapping into state-funded subsidy programs and take the full benefit, leaving us the owner with no upfront cost, but in a trajectory of a 25-year ownership. And then you end up owning something that is no longer viable after 25 years. So the owner benefits less and acquires an outdated system. The model doesn't have any incentives for conservative power use either. It's like you are invited to consume even more power just because your power is your own, so forth. So, and no options for any shared outputs. So I thought the NCLT would be a really great model because the NCLT has homeowner associations, cooperative housing, and rental housing at below market value also. And the whole mission of NCLT is to provide affordable home ownership into perpetuity. So based on that, I thought that would be a real stable foundation for us to be able to explore using that model, those multiple models to initiate buying into solar and being able to store in battery powers and also in battery arrays and have it accessible to our larger community. I had a lot more to say, but the clock's ticking, and I think I'm going to leave it there so that we can fill in later. But I want to leave you saying that NCLT is not only just East Bay based anymore. The NCLT projects are exploring Vallejo, Richmond, East Oakland, and other similar situations in San Jose. So I think the CLT model of cooperation is very important to plug into to include energy democracy. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Renil. And we also just wanted to highlight that this whole commons model, it is the innovation from our cooperative model. So a lot of the member owners have been working with us to bring in their community, their own properties, and also somebody who's actually driving to create like their own kind of a semi-autonomous group. We listened to this little report last year at our annual owner meeting called the Ingleside Community Power. So all of that falls under this commons model. There's a lot of different possibility for this. So hold your question, and we're going to the next one. And I don't know if Brandy's on yet. I know that Brandy had mentioned to me that she's feeling wanting to honor her body a little bit. And if she's not, I could pass it on to Susan. Oh,
I'm here, you all. Give thanks, and I am. Just got tired today. And I just wanted to be like totally frank with y'all. And this during this time, there's a lot going on, and just a little bit like let me honor myself and be still, so that I can really be available for the cooperative and the collective works that we're doing. Crystal and I talked the other morning, early in the morning. I just, sometimes I think I go and my little body says, sit down. You're doing too much, right? Like go sit down somewhere. I don't have any COVID or anything, so I didn't worry about and everything. But I told Chris, I said I would jump in. I don't have the agenda in front of me on the calendar right now, but just wanted to acknowledge that I'm here and listening collectively, but just not in full force. And just want to honor that with you all as a part of the co-op and just be here in that.
thank you for that. How are you feeling about just giving a little overview about the community backup power supply? It's okay if you're not feeling it.
Yeah, if someone else wants to, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't give a backup of it as far as that. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, we got Colin Miller sending you love in case you can't see the chat.
I can. I just saw it. Give thanks. I see you too, Keita. I'm on the phone.
Great. Well, Susan, would you like to do a quick brief overview? No pressure about.
Sure.
Give thanks.
Yeah, Brandy, I hope you're feeling. I mean, I think it's great that you're resting your body and being good to yourself. So yeah, the community backup power supply, that's a project that got started a few months ago. Hopefully in response to our fire season this past fall, which was not fall, it was like, I think our fire season was about 6 months and still ongoing right now. And it's basically an idea to see how we can supply and share portable power during emergencies and crisis, especially with the mind of the PG&E shut-offs in mind, which didn't happen as much as last year, this year, thankfully, but we're trying to get this started in response to that. So it's kind of like a mutual aid, community aid project that's based on a cooperative model, just like we have for everything here. So there's a loose group of people, people come and go, who've been meeting pretty regularly for every 2 weeks for a few months. And there are currently 3 prototype batteries that are getting charged, not by solar right now, but you can plug it into the wall and charge it. And setting up a system where some people are called babysitters and they're just charging it and babysitting the power pack and making sure it's always, full power at all times. And some people are requesting the usage of this, portable power, and some people are helping to transport the battery packs and so on. And currently we've set up a Slack system to do that with various channels on it, as well as there's a group email listserv with emails going to everybody who's been interested in this project, which is I think a few dozen. I also want to give a shout out because there's a lot of people who've been doing a lot more work on this than I have, but I want to make sure I give a shout out to Crystal, Kansas, and the 2 Mats. They've been doing a lot of the technical stuff behind it and the person power behind it. And where this exists right now is we are still in a beta testing mode. So we will be testing out the batteries some more to see what their capacity is and come up with a much more user-friendly user manual. And then trying to bring more people into this cooperative so that we can all kind of like, share power when there's an emergency need, and trying to figure out how we can, produce more battery packs, and how to do more, how to share power better, what devices we can use better. So it's kind of in a beta testing mode, and anybody is welcome to join. Obviously, we could just really use other people's ideas, and the more this thing is shared, the more people there are, the more this will make sense. So, yep, please join.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. And I mean, as we're trying to change the system and try to reclaim it, take it away from our current corrupt energy system, how can we actually build that future if we don't even know how we use our own energy? So one of the cool things about participating in this community backup power supply is that you get to learn about how energy works, literally have a pack, and you don't have to wait until emergency to know how long the refrigerator would run if you were powering on the battery. So we invite you all to be part of this testing brigade that we have, and you can get to understand your relationship with energy better, so we can actually create a better future that is designed by ourselves. And if this is successful, this model can be replicated anywhere, that we can just start responding to fire shut off, power shut off. And even though if it's not related to fire, or if it's related to the fact that people can't pay their bills, I mean, like, we believe energy should be the commons, and wanted to recognize that, in fact, this is an idea that Brandy came up with last year, really recognizing that how can you own this thing called energy if you don't understand it? And how can you actually have people do it, especially if they don't want to rely on convincing property owners to go solar? So shout out to Brandy on that too. With that, I'll pass it on to the next really exciting thing to Kita about.
Can I add one more thing for that?
Yeah.
So just so when you're speaking about people participating, like, now would be the time to participate versus waiting for a situation where you absolutely have to have power. So it helps the cooperative also to gather that data right now. So how long the refrigerator can be powered, how long like your laptop can be utilized now when you don't need it, versus waiting till the power goes off and then have it be a guessing game. So if you have time, or you have the energy to say, hey, I'd like to grab one of these battery backups and try it out, learn it, see how it works, so you can become a resource for the community as a whole. Thank you.
Yes, here. Cool. If you have more questions, hold it again till the very end. And now we have a mobile solar in East Oakland. Kita, take it away.
Hey, for sure. Thank you, Crystal. So yeah, mobile solar in East Oakland. So my day job, I'm the director of urban and regional planning for the East Oakland Collective, and we are a proud partner of the East Oakland Black Cultural Zone, which is a coalition of faith-based churches, organizations, and individuals that's striving to maintain and preserve the culture, Black culture, and people of East Oakland. And with all of that said, we, the Black Culture Zone, have been leasing this lot that we've turned into, that we've now called the Liberation Lot. It's it used to be a police station, actually, I think. And yeah, it's just been vacant for the past decades. And so we've been activating it. It's on the surplus land. It was recently added to the surplus land list. So now it's up to prioritize for affordable housing. And we are also trying to do that, get our affordable housing networks together to actually attain the property. And so that's just the background of it. And so we've been trying to figure out how to meet the needs of activating the Liberation Lot. We, meaning the Black Culture Zone, and then my other hat as an anchor owner. And so we've been working with Footprint Project that does disaster relief, but instead of thinking through a charity state of mind, we've been thinking, how do we do this through a common state of mind, of course, and create community ownership. So right now, the state of the project is we're really trying to currently analyze ways to create a longer term energy solution on this lot so that we don't have to rely on outside corporations. And currently the lot, I don't think it even have a setup for long-term PG&E use. So it don't even, I think, allow for it structurally. So we've been, Crystal, shout out to Crystal, been working with the Black Culture Zone a lot to kind of provide TA on how to work through that and do the energy kind of audits. We're doing energy audits on the lot. So the People Power Solar Cooperative has been a real good thought partner to offer proposals that the community can use as a solution and build community-owned assets. So that's pretty much what we have going on. And beyond just powering the lot, as it was mentioned before, we want to educate people on energy. So this is supposed to also, you see that big solar trailer where as we're powering things, we want to educate people on what energy actually is, what power is, in the various ways that it comes. And yeah, we just basically want to better streamline how we educate people around power, because it's a hard topic, I feel like. Yeah, so that's what we got going on for the mobile solar in East Oakland. Shout out to the Solar Co-op for really being a TA and thought partner in helping the Liberation Lot figure out its long-term energy use.
Thank you, Keita. Again, I'm sure lots of questions. Please hold it at the very end. Write it down if you can. And next, we're going to talk about the other TA support that we're doing. It's a youth-led resilience hub at the Rise Center. Ami, I don't see Ami on the call. Ami has texted me and let me know that she's having some
Can
technical
folks hear me?
Oh, yay!
Can folks hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. This is Ami. I'm on the phone. And yeah, I'm happy to share a little bit about this project. The Rise Center is a youth center in Richmond that does incredible work around health and wellness and healing, sort of like cultural programming, job training opportunities. There's a range of programs and services that Rise offers, and APEN, doing sort of being a longtime partner of Rise Youth Center in Richmond, as part of the organizing work we've been doing there, we're supporting Rise to become a community resilience hub, where they're expanding right now. They're actually renovating their building to expand to something called Rise Commons, which will be sort of a whole new campus. And part of that, those upgrades and renovations are solar and storage as for backup power, and just to sort of be a model for what community-owned and governed solar and clean energy can look like. So what's really unique, in addition to the infrastructure upgrades we're looking to fundraise and sort of install, is the youth governance model, where the youth members are really part of the leadership in terms of what sort of services will be offered, if they're saving from the system, what that would go towards. In times of crisis and disaster, what are the types of needs that Rise can offer to be met? So yeah, that's kind of the big picture. And People Power is helping with a key sort of barrier and gap we were facing, which was technical assistance, because we needed support on the actual project management and realizing this vision to actually like installing the solar, getting a developer, project financing, etc. So we're really excited to collaborate with People Power on those fundamental pieces to actually make the project happen, hopefully in the next year or so. So I'll stop there. And I don't know, Crystal, if you want to add anything.
No, that's really good. Again, hold your question. There's a lot. I mean, this project, has held so many different webinars around the country to talk about. So lots of details in this. And that was just a very, very high level overview. Okay, next up, we have very, very exciting community share solar in the San Joaquin Valley. We have exciting guests from the El Dorado Park Community Development Corporation. Jackie, why don't you take it away?
Hello, everyone. I really do appreciate meeting all of you and being inspired by what you're doing in your own places and spaces. And I also appreciate you saying your name at the beginning, because it's going to take me a while to get to know you and your project as well as I hope to. So El Dorado Park is a little small neighborhood of apartments west of Fresno State university that was built as student housing about 50, 60 years ago, all rental housing. And it's gone now to housing for primarily low-income families. There is no green space in the area. So I'm part of the El Dorado Park Community Development Corporation. And in our community meetings, when we talked about the 2 open lots, we chose to get, we were able to obtain 1, and people wanted it to be a garden, an open space, a meeting space, a place where people could enjoy being outside together. So Allie from Shake Energy, who's also in this call, made the initial really put out to us about community solar with PG&E, and through different meetings, we've come to the place where we actually have an application to be a minor utility and sell to the grid with solar on this property. And it's very exciting. The co-op would be formed.
Oh, you're on mute, Jackie. Why? Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, you're on mute again. You could probably just press it once. It's okay. There we go.
There. The main takeaway, as I've begun to learn some about solar, some about clean energy, climate change, and I'm a real newbie to this, is that the process of how we do this at the grassroots is what's going to change our whole society. We need to pay attention to how we engage people and how we listen and how we enhance, promote, recognize, energize what we can do together. Because honestly, the system only knows how to do what the system is already doing. So we have to make our own model.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Word of wisdom, and there's a lot to say about this project. Again, hold your question. We're almost there. And with like so many different people coming in, not just from El Dorado Park CDC in Fresno, but with all these projects that we just kind of reviewed in a very high level, we need to figure out how to manage all the member owners. Right now, it's literally manually managed by the worker owners in spreadsheets. So I'll hand it over to Grayson to talk a little bit about our software portal briefly.
Thanks, Crystal. Yeah, this is a project we've been talking about for a while, and it goes hand in hand with finding ways to better understand energy and what energy means beyond just the utility bill we get. And specifically, I think this project will really be helpful for teaching us how we manage sort of our financial relationships with energy. And so we worked with a group of students at UC Berkeley who helped to build this software portal, and we're going to be working with some other energy cooperatives around the country to sort of put the finishing touches on this portal so that we can have a portal for all of our members to log in. And what it would enable you to do is basically see your financial stake in the cooperative and manage the dividends that the cooperative is paying on your shares if you're an investor owner or a general owner of the cooperative. And then if you're a subscriber like Sherry or Laura Jo, and we hope to have many more in the future, you would be a portal for you to be able to check your bills and pay your bills online, similar to how you might pay your PG&E bill. And Crystal's reminding me, it would also allow project groups to manage the finances within their project groups more independently. So for example, we talk about El Dorado Park forming a cooperative to manage the revenue streams or whatever that their community-owned solar project generates. This would give autonomy, and rather than Crystal and I struggling to keep up with a billion spreadsheets, over to the members of that project group to manage the money that's both coming in and out of these cooperative project groups, and just sort of increase financial transparency across the cooperative as a whole, and also hopefully, provide a lot more room for autonomy and engagement throughout the co-op. And so we hope to have this out some point in 2021, probably in the summer.
So now we're about to get into the question part, but just a quick summary, some needs from the People Power community. Didn't quite mention that, wanted to highlight some things that would be applicable to you here is that, as Susan mentioned, in the East Bay, we have been doing this community backup power supply project with lots of people also on the call here. And we're doing this testing brigade so people could be part of it. Like what Yasir said, we shouldn't wait till disaster hits to then start to react. We can actually start to do this and be in community with each other. We're actually having like bi-weekly dinner hangout to just chat, get to know each other, and then actually come up with cool ideas like this. It's really, really fun and productive gathering and building community as we hang out. We watch like Yvette make food, and we talk about batteries and all the fun stuff. So there's that. If you're interested, you can join our testing brigade on Slack. Grayson can drop in chat the Slack link if you're interested to continue participating. That's where we'll be like, if you're interested in using the battery, you can contact the babysitters for using the battery, and the batteries, it's completely self-organized. And then also just a quick little teaser that on January 18th on MLK Day, Martin Luther King Day, Brandy is planning to host a little thing about power and how do we break up from PG&E session. So if you know anything, a deep understanding of energy system, we'll love to try to invite you to brainstorm an informational gathering, because right now most people just don't know what energy is, and we'll really appreciate your knowledge, because as you can see, worker owners are doing a whole lot. So if you can help us try to come up with some cool popular education to download that for just lay people to understand what that means, and why is it that we can't just break up on PG&E and start all over again. So without further ado, I'm going to open up for questions. And again, if you're interested, put in chat for Stack. Grayson?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we already have one question from Laura Jo that I think if Jackie or Ali want to answer, which is, who uses the solar energy from the community solar in Fresno, and how is it used? And then, yeah, just for Stack, feel free to just write the word Stack in chat, and I can keep a stack of who has questions.
I know we all have burning questions. Don't be shy.
Well, I just want to know how I can get more involved, because I've got time, but I don't have a lot of skill.
Great. We'll get to that soon. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay.
Jackie or Ali, did y'all one of you want to answer who's going to be using the solar energy from the community solar project in Fresno?
Go ahead, Ali.
Sure. Hi guys, my name is Allie. I live in Fresno. I get to work with Jackie on figuring out the technical details of this project in El Dorado Park. Jackie already answered it in the grid. In the chat. It says in the chat. It goes to the grid. It's the electricity is sold to PG&E. PG&E distributes it across the grid, and then virtually about 24 households within a 5-mile radius, hopefully in a smaller radius than that, in the actual neighborhood of El Dorado Park, get to sign up to save 20% on their electricity bill.
Thank you. The next question I'm seeing is from Sherry, which is, can you go over the testers for the battery backup? What are the responsibilities as a tester?
Yeah.
Susan, would you like to take that? Susan, would you like to take that? Otherwise, I can hand it over to Kansas. Go ahead.
Do you wanna say something, Kansas?
Sure.
So, I mean, the responsibilities as a tester are really just, they're pretty loose right now. Like, right, we only have some rules and conditions on and formulations on how you can request a battery and how it's going to get to you. But the responsibilities of the tester is really just think about what you would want to know more about in your house. What energy, how much does my refrigerator take? How much does TV, whatever, take? And the idea is really just to get usage tracking of just like, hey, I ran the battery for this long. It powered my refrigerator for, X amount of hours. It was easy to recharge. It recharged in this amount of time. Literally, we're just trying to get information so that we can adapt and build how people actually use and utilize the batteries.
Yes, so I guess the idea is whoever takes the battery, and there's 3 batteries right now, and we should mention that 2 of them weigh 100 pounds each. One weighs 50 pounds. I'll probably be testing the 50-pound one. They do not come with hand trucks, so we're gonna have to but they do come neatly in crates. So we'll have to figure out how to transport those. And the idea is really to imagine that you are in one of these like power shutoff crisis moments, and what would you really prioritize needing to charge? Most likely refrigerator and or medical devices if people have those, and just plug it in and see, how long it takes. You'd be surprised, probably, I think people, even when they do calculations, might not be quite the same as real life usage. So we're just trying to track all that for these specific batteries. We're also looking to get more, build and get more, battery packs or some kind of a device to do this.
Can I jump in with the battery backup? I think recently we had a person call, you all know Tavi Baker with the People of Color Sustainable Housing Network. And she is with the Parker Street Cooperative. And they were without power. And I think we were able to loan a battery to that cooperative group, and they were able to get power that was needed. It was like a beautiful thing to see, a text message, and just want to give thanks to the folks. I didn't actually physically deliver it, but it was a instant piece, just kind of give an example of like this whole cooperative without power. They were able to connect. Was it with you, Susan? I don't know who dropped it off over to Parker. And then I got a text message, and the whole collective over there was excited. Brandy, we got some power. Because PG&E was saying something like, 2 days or something.
Yeah, that was awesome. So Brandy literally texted me, and then I just put the text, literally a screenshot of the text, threw it into Slack to the babysitter and say, hey, babysitter, who could do it? And at that moment, babysitter was literally Matt Joyce, who's also on the call here, and myself. And then Matt was holding that lighter battery and was able to just drop it off within 30 minutes. The idea with the Slack is that if the babysitter wasn't able to drop it off, we can contact the movers. And so anyone who's available, who's willing to move within the next few hours could literally just like, all right, I'm free. I could just drive from point A to point B and drop it off and then go run my errands and stuff like that. So we're trying to like just have that social infrastructure, and all are welcome to participate in that too, with the Slack, because we're all self-organizing, so then I'm not the gatekeeper of things.
All right, next on Stack, I'm seeing Kita with a question about the RISE project. Kita, if you want to ask.
I have a question and a reaction to the last question. I had put in the chat that I want to be a tester, and I guess I didn't understand it before it was explained. I guess I was saying I want to be a trainer. I want to get trained, but I do want to be a tester too, I guess. But yeah, from the earlier conversation, I want to be somebody to get trained on how to use it. And then, yeah, I can be a tester, and I also have a garage that I can store if ever needed. So just wanted to point that out. And yeah, and my question was for the RISE project. Yeah, just the whole resilience hub kind of concept, that's what come to mind when I see it. And it's a hot topic in our neighborhoods. I mean, well, in our city, some money pipeline to come down to it. So I'm just really curious. And it's probably gonna be a longer follow-up with me. Just like, yeah, who approached who for this project? Yeah, what resources was leveraged to get some of the elements? I didn't hear all of it. We didn't, get all of the elements. So it's probably be a follow-up question, but I basically want to know how to do that in East Oakland. And I have a particular place in mind.
Cool. Ami, are you still on? I know that she's having technical difficulties. Okay. Well, at the risk of
What with her? I just appreciate
yeah, I'm sure people would like to hear the answer too. I might misspeak, so don't quote me on everything I'm about to say here. So my understanding is that Rise Center and APEN have been working together to try to figure out this resilience hub for quite a long time. I don't know how many years, but it's definitely more than 2 years. And so they've been trying to figure out primarily on like how can they make that integrate that into their youth program. And so they've been raising money and been connecting with partners to try to figure that out. But as Ami mentioned, one of the biggest thing has always been the technical assistance and technical support to try to find like experts in the energy field or developers or contractors who they can trust. They know that in the solar industry, people who know these solar stuff are probably going to try to make a profit off of them. And it's really hard for them to navigate a lot of these things without knowing who exactly to trust and having that capacity to help them through a lot of things, including what financial model we should use. They actually have their own model. We're not going to be, the cooperative is not going to be owning any part of the project at all. We're actually supporting as some sort of pro bono support as a way to really recognizing the fact that being able to build this project is going to create this collective knowledge, the intellectual commons that we can then replicate easily to build projects like what Kita you mentioned. So if more people have these ideas of wanting to build these projects, we can then help him hop in and support in a technical aspect and try to like identify the best financial model and ownership model based on what your community wants and give you proposals and offers so that you can make the best decision. Again, we're a thought partner, and decided to wanted to have it owned by the cooperative, great, we can help make that happen. If not, no worries, we're here to offer the best access to information.
Awesome. Well, I see two more names on stack, Colin and Maria. Colin.
Yeah, thank you all. My question was already answered briefly by Susan, so thank you for answering to that, Susan. My question was if there's already a contact list of high priority and most impacted folks who would benefit most from the mobile batteries were they to lose power for any reason. And I appreciate, Crystal, you naming utility power shutoffs, not just from the public safety power shutoff, but also from lack of ability to pay their bills. It's a really big crisis, especially during COVID. So in this crisis, so thinking about people who are dependent on electric medical devices to live, the power to live. So I know like Disability Justice Culture Club and other groups have been doing that work, mobilizing, and I'm just curious if People Power Solar Cooperative or the independent Slack group has kind of interfaced with them and come up with a priority list or something like that. Thank you.
To my knowledge, can I jump in, Colin? This Brandy. To my knowledge, no, but as an owner, I'm glad you're gonna jump in and do that and create that list so that we can have it and add it to the Slack channel and make sure that it's prioritized. I think that the beta testing point is making sure that it's beta before we just release and create a list and add more trauma, and particularly to communities who are in need of it. So we want to test this before we just jump it out and say, yes, we want to let folks, and then it's becoming, yet another issue. But I think that's something you could definitely jump on. It would be a wonderful adjective because that's the intention. Someone else jump in if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Matt,
no,
Susan.
yeah, really want to support what Brandy said right now. This kind of technology is not always accessible to a lot of people, so we really want to use this time to create a very easy user manual that when we do deploy this, people aren't all confused about how to use this thing.
Yeah, and I'll quickly just jump in and say, like, people have been saying, they want to be trained up and stuff. This was surprising to me too to learn. It is literally a 3-prong socket, right? So you can literally just plug in your laptop and get energy. So just throwing that out there.
I think it's the user manuals partly about setting expectations about what the battery, how much the capacity of the battery and what people can and cannot, and how long they can use it for, so they have some idea. Like, especially if it's a medical device, you don't want to plug it in and be like surprised, like, oh, I only get 2 hours of power, You want to have some contingency, right? So
Okay. Yeah, next up is Maria.
Great. Hi, everyone. I also feel like my question was partially answered in all these other responses, but I'm just curious how the new projects are being funded. And it sounds like there's a different financial model maybe for each project, but part of that question is, if there's a need for more owners or, yeah, just how to find out more information there.
Yeah, thanks for that question. We don't follow the money. We don't only act because there's money or the funder tell us they want to see something. It's really whatever the member owners want, because the role that we play as a cooperative or as the worker owner is to offer the thought partnership so that our member owners can start to build that movement needed to literally from working together on projects to start to create energy democracy and start to understand the policy that needs to be changed, start to understand the relationship with energy that needs to be changed, and then start to change literally from the inside of our individual and inside the cooperative to the outside throughout entire California. So a lot of ideas kind of just came out, like the community backup power supply is completely volunteer run or member owner run, and we have a lot of people who are not part of the cooperative also part of that conversation. Ingleside Community Power that we talked about, that Kansas is leading in San Francisco, very similar, basically a commons model, but in San Francisco is also just an idea he's testing out. And then once he can start to raise some money, that will work. And same thing with the community solar project in Fresno. They're doing a lot of like capital or grant money investment raising on their own as well. But what we can do from People Power Solar Cooperative side is definitely support on like crowdfunding type of thing, especially for commons model. So we will be, because of the new projects that we'll probably be installing very soon from the 20 plus property owners we've been working with this year, we will be doing another campaign specifically locally in Alameda County to say, hey, we're building projects near you. Or if there's any property that we're going to be building outside of the Bay Area, we can do that too. And we'll be doing like this membership recruitment drive very soon. And definitely need your help. But before getting into more details on that, we can maybe if we're going to close the stack soon. So Lincoln is the last person on stack. If you want to squeeze in one last question, please put your stack on chat. Lincoln?
Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, just really amazed at all the incredible projects that are going on right now. And everyone's kind of touched on this a little bit, but wanted to circle back and hear from potentially the mobile solar project or the San Joaquin Community Solar Project to hear what sorts of community engagement and education strategies have you seen as effective to get folks interested in energy and to start rethinking what's possible in relationship to energy systems.
Great question. Allie and Jackie, would you like to take that for El Dorado Park CDC?
Well, I think that the key lead is food and sharing food together. We've had, Allie has really led and done some creative things at potlucks, events that we had outside block parties on the lot. But food, especially in a diverse group, the food was the common denominator. I think that got people there, kept people there, and when you break bread together, it creates an atmosphere of listening and sharing that doesn't happen at a meeting where you're looking at someone making a presentation. Allie, you want to add to that?
I would also maybe add Play-Doh and art. We had a lot of success with especially getting kids in the neighborhood, and then once the kids are there for 4 hours, their parents eventually come by and are like, where did my kids go? And then we get to talk to them too. Yeah, we did a lot of crafting around what does that space visually look like, and the solar is just sort of a periphery thing, and then it's Play-Doh underneath, but we still get to explain the solar, and that is fun.
I would only add to that, group hip hop in the street also is very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. And for us, for the rest of all the projects that we've been working on, a lot of the activity has really happened since March. And so we haven't really had very much chance to be able to come together and feel safe. So a lot of that is just Zoom, and we're we're having BYOB, bring your own brunch type of food exchange like right now. Unfortunately, we can't really break bread just yet, and we have gatherings to just talk, like literally people just have dinner together, like the community backup power supply. We just eat dinner. Like I said, Yvette will be cooking and showing us what she's cooking. We'll be eating together. Matt Joyce also showed us the lentil soup that he's making for his 9-person cooperative. It's just coming together on food and chat, get to know each other. It has been great. And as we're just getting to know each other, we kind of talk about energy. So that also takes us to the upcoming one on MLK Day, where we will be having a little discussion about what energy means and how to break away from it, that Brandy is hosting. And Brandy, would you like to say a little bit about what you're thinking with that, perhaps?
Yes, I think that it's time for us to have a separation. Yes, us and PG&E, y'all. It's time for us to think about what does it look like to live without. And I think it's time to go back to the ABC's building blocks of energy. And I think often we form co-ops and we say clean energy, you know, all this stuff just loses the people that are most affected by the situation. And so a lot of folks are thinking, I want to save money with PG&E. I can get solar and save. We need to dispel some of the myths. Like, I think that we need to understand who PG&E is and the importance of us really letting it go. And what does the transition really look like? So in honor of our King, we often are doing service work on that day. I also am a person who feels like Dr. King did so much service that maybe on that day we can sit and be still. It's often a time for allies and folks, let's go clean up the neighborhood. It's a day of service in honor of the person who did all this service. And I'm going to say the other mind service is what I'd like for us to host on that day and think deeper about what is our relationship with PG&E and why are we talking about own your own energy? What is this whole cooperative ownership of energy, and why is it even important? For some of us, we just grew up with PG&E. The PG&E is cut off. I just want energy. We just flick on a light every day. We're not thinking about it. What is our relationship? Why are we needing to divorce PG&E? Why are folks doing this? And so just a almost like a fireside chat. We don't have no big agenda, y'all, but welcome all the folks who want to really think about that. Like, yes, we're doing this, but what does that look like for real? What does that every day look like if we decided not to have that as the thing? So that's the invitation for folks who are willing on that day of service to put our minds together in hive mind. What would it look like? And let's just imagine to not be connected to that system.
Yeah, and we have us to lean on to make that happen, to break up from our current system that's killing us so we can have an alternative. So many of our friends, my friends, would be like, oh yeah, we know all this is bad, but what's an alternative? Like, we can actually make that happen. And we could do that as early as January. So with that, I'd like to transition, recognizing that we have a little more than 10 minutes left, to for reflection on what exactly is a barrier, so we can kind of get a sense of how to hop in to support. For People Power worker owners, we have been doing a lot of things. Here's just like a high level run through of things that we had to do, primarily because 2020 had become increasingly stressful and made it very difficult to find partners. And so many of our member owners are also super busy. So like, people have to do homeschooling, people are just tired of sitting in front of Zoom. So things are just getting more difficult. And here's like a high list of things, high level of things that we have been doing ourselves. So we have to do like technical analysis. Like, Grayson literally learned how to do technical analysis from scratch from Bruce, who's another member owner. I don't know if Bruce is on the call. And then we have to translate the technical information to help communities to make the best decision around energy ownership. We have to communicate the problems of our current extractive system, like what Brandon's been saying, but we're doing so many other things. We're probably not doing a very good job. So here's a really, really, really important point that anyone who's understanding our current energy extractive system this is an opportunity for you to hop in, especially for us to prepare for the January call. And then how to communicate the importance of collective energy ownership as opposed to individual ownership to property owners, because property owners are all stuck in a mindset of this is mine. How can we actually get more people to think like Laura Joe, to understand that, like, yeah, the ownership, the whole concept of ownership is a lie. And how can we actually start to be connected with each other again and transform our society in the way we live? And then also, how do we organize community? We're not organizers. You're all Crystal, Graysons. We're not here to organize the people in the community. We're here to offer other things. But we start to see ourselves having to do a little bit of that, and we feel very uncomfortable. And then we have to find installer partners, which is a huge relationship thing that we have to build, especially in a year where solar is just going up. Like, all the property owners are trying to get their own private solar and battery as soon as possible. They don't have time to talk about, like, wait, cooperative ownership, I don't understand. You have to touch the contract. I don't have time. It takes a lot of negotiation and partnership building. And then we also have to create popular education on the concept of energy democracy. Again, also touching on to what Brandy's talking about. We have to do all that. So here are the things that we're actually here, really, we think we should be focusing on, like, how do we translate the technical to be able to communicate with folks? How do we communicate the importance of collective energy ownership to individual ownership? And how do we find installer partners? These are the three things that we think we should really be focusing on top of getting engaged with the member owners and having you all understand what's going on and being able to plug in and all that. And then this is the part that we would really love support from literally directly from you or from the partner organizations that you know that would be interested in hopping in to do. So take a look at it. Again, you have the slides with you. Recognizing that we do have about less than 10 minutes left, I want to transition into 2021, which also touch on to when exactly is this MLK Day thing happening. So now we're preparing for 2021. I want to just kind of do a quick proposal and just use the last 10 minutes to kind of have a group discussion. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here to see what's the best way moving forward. I also recognize on the owner survey, if you have not filled it out, please fill it out. The link is in that People Owner report, People Power Owner report that was sent out to you a few days ago. So in that, we recognize a lot of people said it'll be really good to have a better structure to get updates on project, as well as a better knowledge-based resource to know how to plug in. We have been hoping that it could be the People Power Owner Playground, but it seems like that we recognize that. I mean, there's so many online activities going on. People get really tired, too many notification. It's just not easy for people to engage online as well. But meanwhile, we want to have a repository of things where people can just like tap in to things. So one thing that we're also hearing quite a lot is a phone tree system, which also allow you to connect with each other and keep each other updated, even if you don't know very much. Like our community agreement says, together we know a whole lot. So I like to basically set up a proposal to set up a phone tree system where we could keep each other in the loop, have like information, like we call 2 people, you call 2 people, and literally at the end of the day, everyone would know what's going on while you check in with each other on what's going on, because we're building in community with each other. So I wanted to just pause here and kind of just get a sense of like, how does that sound to you? Do you have any idea to best set it up? Because right now I'm thinking that we can just assign 2 people for you to check in with, and the 2 people can literally just be 2 of the new friends that or old or new friends that you were in small groups with just now, and then just continue the conversation you started and then check in with them, and they're your people that you have to call. How does that sound? You can give me a thumbs up or put in chat or unmute yourself to share your thoughts. I'm seeing thumbs up. Oh, I see a sideways thumb from Susan in Kansas. Susan, Kansas, would you like to share your thoughts?
I mean, sure. I mean, I'm totally fine with phone tree or telephone, whatever the heck that you call it. But I don't know. I'm just more used to like other digital means instead of like direct messaging people, but that's just me. I have nothing against it or to give updates that way or receive updates that way, but yeah.
Susan?
I guess I'm curious what kind of updates we'd be giving. I'm not the best person, like phone talky person, so it's not the best medium for me personally, either direction. But yeah, and I'm kind of curious, but I like the idea of like, phone tree in general, like, helping to spread the word that way. And I'm curious, like exactly what information we're trying to spread that we can't do by like a newsletter or like an email.
Yeah, good question. Kita also dropped that same question in chat. So yes, we have been sending out a newsletter and just basically one-way blast from the worker owners to you all. We also recognize that people are just very emailed out. People are very tired of digital stuff, and being able to receive a text makes a huge difference. And it's putting a lot of work on the worker owners to have to text every single member owners. And so being able to kind of share that, and most importantly, we don't want the identity of People Power Solar Cooperative to look like Crystal and Grayson, because the identity of the cooperative, as you learned today, is a lot of the people who are driving the projects. So if even just like, if you can text your two people and say, hey, just heard that there's a meeting, are you going? Or, hey, I heard there's a meeting coming up on January 18th. I'm so excited about it, but I can't go. But you're my buddy, so I'm gonna let you know that I can't go, kind of thing. Or and then you could, if you're working on a project, like, hey, this is the project I'm working on. You can also do some quick check-in. Ideally, if you're open to it, you can also just like check in with each other, see how you're doing. Because I mean, you just shared some thoughts with each other about what you want to bring from 2020 to 2021. You can continue that conversations and stuff like that.
This is
Ranil.
So is a texting platform too expensive for us to engage with? Because I think you did something like that, Crystal, for the battery distribution or the emergency needs. Is there something similar that we can do so that it's like a tree, but everybody gets a message because there is a moderator, or the moderating can be shared like a phone tree? I don't understand this technically.
Great question. I'd love to get some feedback from people. Like, which one would you like? Do you want like a blast from text like that from a robot, or would you like to hear from member owners? I'd love to hear thoughts from people. I don't want to push any direction at all.
I don't think the text blast needs to come from a robot. I mean, like I'm on a few different, like, WhatsApp. I'm not a huge WhatsApp fan, but like the WhatsApp platform, I'm in a few different groups and anyone can text anything they want and it blasts to the entire group. And it seems pretty effective to get information out. And then sometimes there's like discussion based on it. Some kind of platform like that might be more user-friendly than like a phone tree.
So like a group text, you mean?
Yeah, like a group text. It doesn't have to come from a robot or the service, like a paid service, but like
can people unmute yourself? You think, I'm sensing the direction of the conversation now moving towards more on text messages away from phones. I see some chat activity, so please feel free to unmute yourself. Yasir.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to have like a newsletter blast or something that's inhuman, to pass on a vibration that we all have and we can all distribute with each other. So if it's contacting two people, I think it carries a different message and different resonance than getting a newsletter saying our meeting's in 2 weeks, hope to see you there. Someone calls and someone reaches out and says, hey, the next meeting is in 2 weeks and I plan to be there, or I can't go, just carries a different vibration. So one which would help stitch everyone together. A lot of the things from many of the breakout sessions that we have is a sense of disconnect from other members. What can I do? How can I plug in? I think that having a phone tree or having a system where we talk one-on-one would give that opportunity versus an email that gets lost in other email. That's my vote. It
Any
doesn't
other
have to
thoughts?
be a phone tree. Anything that can pull out that same level of connection is fine.
So I was also seeing some private chat with me from Sherry about preferring one-on-one. So I'm getting like some spread here. Is there a spread, or are we all like moving together? How are we feeling in terms of reaction to what Yasir said?
Could I just say, I prefer the one-on-ones. Depending on how we decide how to pace it, but I understand the need, for certain texting. I just get a lot of group texts, and it gets crazy after a while. But if we're saying once a month or something like that, or I think that the sentiments that Yasir was mentioning is part of my consciousness too.
Thank you. I don't want to sound like we're just, oh, Margie.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, it seems like I haven't weighed in because I don't know what I think. And so what I'd appreciate is maybe everybody think about it, come up with a lot of different ideas, and then maybe people could plug into the idea or methodology or whatever that they feel most comfortable with. But I need to hear more ideas first. I can't come up with it.
Yeah, thank you. We're not going to try to make a decision in 10 minutes, so there's no pressure. It's just an open conversation, and kind of think about, as you like go back into your life, thinking about your connection and vibration with People Power Solar Cooperative. What would you like? And maybe the next time we come together on January 18th, we can potentially have more conversation about like, all right, now we talk about freedom. How do we make that work? I will drop in chat here again, or not again, drop in chat while I speak out loud. The time is looking at 12 to 1:30 for the freedom conversation around PG&E on January 18th. We'll send a little more information about this. We'll also be sending out a follow-up email, including that, as well as if you're interested in being part of brainstorming and planning for this meeting, please contact the worker owners. You don't have to wait for that email to come out. You could just literally contact the worker owners right now as you're sitting right here to say, hey, I'm interested. Either drop in chat, email us, however you want, and we can start going from there. How does that sound? We're 1 minute over time, so right, just appreciating your being here for 1 minute over time, 2 minutes now, and hope you have finished your brunch. I feel so full in my soul and my brain. I'm very hungry in my stomach because I just finished my tiny, delicious bananas, and hope you're having a lovely Sunday fun day. Thank you all so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.